Welcome to the Heritage Channel on Clee TV, where we explore the fascinating history of North East Lincolnshire in a monthly roundup of news, views and other stories. If you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button below, or on Facebook, join the group to make sure you don't miss any of our programmes. With Christmas fast approaching, we're starting to prepare for the festive celebrations. We all have our own traditions that have been passed on from the generations before us, from attending church for midnight mass to decorating trees in our houses, carols by candlelight, advent calendars and the food we eat. But where did our favourite Christmas traditions come from? Bob Massey from Heritage Lincolnshire examines the origins of the traditional British Christmas on Wednesday the 8th of December. Tickets from the Lincolnshire Heritage website. Successful applications for the first round of the Heritage Starter Fund have now been announced. I caught up with some of the winners to find out more about their projects.
Our project's all about capturing Cleethorpes communities and cultures. Our organisation is Capacity Buildings Limited, and we've been supporting Cleethorpes residents to find out about their traditions and cultures. So we thought it'd be really helpful to put this project together to work more with the older residents and find out about their memories, cultures and traditions in the area and historic places of heritage and interest. And then the idea was to share those with younger residents, get the younger residents involved and thinking about not just the factual history and heritage of the place, but how younger people might interpret them or reinterpret them.
Spring, sort of Easter time, we're hoping to bring some small events that parts of the collection can be seen. From the maritime side, there's 3 or 4 vessels, the main one being the Spider T and the HMS Pickle recreation.
We'll be involving the residents in interviewing each other and having conversations and then fact-finding, but also in these online projections of the stories, really. It's about storytelling and getting those ideas out from a young person's perspective.
One of the things that this grant is enabling us to do is essentially to create an archive, the Warren's shipyard that was local in North Lincolnshire, and it would be very nice to get the Warren archive so that it can be seen well into the future.
The big picture, what we're trying to achieve at the end of it all is, do we want to go down a route of doing more reenactment activities, practical things maybe on the beach in Cleethorpes, maybe on the seafront, younger people getting involved in telling those stories and intergenerational working, involving the older people still, but getting it from a younger person's perspective. So we've got some legacy, if you like, for future generations to benefit from.
Basing ourselves in Grimsby and making it available to the wider public and the sort of nation as a whole, I do honestly believe we'll be getting visitors from abroad as well. It's going to be a little bit bigger than I first imagined, if you know what I'm saying.
We will be following the projects as they develop over the coming months and catching up with the successful applicants from the second round in our December programme. Applications are still open for the Heritage Starter Fund for projects that will involve and benefit the residents of North East Lincolnshire. Application forms are available now on the Heritage Lincolnshire website. There is a host of heritage activities for you to enjoy at Grimsby Minster over the coming months. I caught up with Charlotte Bowen from the Culture House to find out more.
Over the winter, the Culture House has a really exciting programme of cultural activity. So we're starting with the Museum of the Moon at Grimsby Minster. That opens on the 17th of November and is a large-scale replica of the moon by the artist Luke Jerram. It will be installed in Grimsby Minster. It's been venues all over the world, so we're really pleased to be hosting it here. There's a lot of excitement. So that's available to view at different times and days, evenings and weekends. And then alongside that, there's a really good events programme, which is very varied with live music, talks, drama, relaxation. So we've got a really varied programme coming to the Minster. which is also supporting the Minster to, get people back in their doors as well. On top of that, we've got Light Gardens coming, which is a smaller event, a version of Light Gardens we did in Cleethorpes in 2019. But we've got a couple of performers coming to Grimsby who are brilliant. So there's the Spark Drummers with their show, and also an act called The Lips, which is a real feel-good piece. So we're looking to sort of bring St James Square alive, and we'll be doing a bit of outreach as well. There's another piece coming called The Recovery Poems, which is a large-scale excerpt from a poem that two poets collaborated on during lockdown. It's been turned into an artwork that tours around, so it's lit up. And that's going to various places over the weekend of the 19th and 20th. And we've always approached the programming in a kind of layered way. And I think there's always something inspiring, when we're bringing in touring artists. And what motivates us in terms of that is that this area doesn't tend to get a lot of that kind of stuff. And then at the other end of it, it's about the local sector and how what we do might support local development, providing work opportunities for local artists and performance opportunities. And I think we do really need to celebrate the talent that we've got in Grimsby. So we've always had that thread running through. We've launched our Made in Grimsby strand, where we're sort of shining a spotlight more on local creatives, and purposely doing that. And then we've got some development opportunities coming up as well for local performers as part of a project next year. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed approach that hopefully supports the local sector at the same time. We've all spent so much time indoors, and you can almost get used to that. It's quite comfortable at the same time as being, quite isolating. Festivals and events obviously brought people together in a shared space, and I think it is important now. I think it just does give a sense of detachment from all those kind of issues and problems, so you're kind of just free to enjoy. So it's about basic enjoyment as well at the end of the day. Yeah, of course, I believe that that's an important thing.
The Lockdown Lifelines event on Saturday the 20th of November includes local poetic responses to COVID lockdown hosted by Charlotte Bowen, music from talented singer-songwriter Rachel McKenna, and I will be hosting an open mic poetry session. You can email me to book a slot or just turn up on the night.
And in this crazy world we will carry on. You're my go-to guy, you're my number one. How can I be sure we will be as one? Or will you come to me with the rising sun? It's survival,
Visitors to Cleethorpes looking for a friendly pub with good food will find the Punch Bowl just a short stroll along the North Promenade from the famous pier. Overlooking the beach and Humber Estuary, this friendly local has been owned and run by Sheila Stafford and her family for the last 33 years. The Punch Bowl is a firm favourite with local people who enjoy the friendly atmosphere and great value food.
It's got a very good selection of food, there's plenty to choose from, and it's all very tasty.
And I've always come back, and I've always enjoyed the experience of it.
Everyone's real friendly, all the staff know my name and what have you, and I just sort of enjoy the time I spend here.
Upstairs from the busy pub is Laces, a grand function room with separate bar and stage.
On a wedding, of course, we do a full 4-course meal, or we can do buffets.
Holding up to 150 people, it's a popular venue for weddings and birthdays and a favourite of local musicians.
Oh yeah, we are looking forward to welcoming people back into Laces and into the Punch Bowl.
Whether you're looking for good value food and drink in a friendly local pub or a grand venue for that special occasion, the Punch Bowl and Laces has it all. Harnessing the power of wind was a major milestone in the development of humankind, and we are privileged here in North East Lincolnshire to have one of the few remaining working windmills in the country. Before the introduction of steam engines and electricity, the only source of power that humankind had the ability to control was wind. It not only powered our sailing ships, but also hundreds of thousands of windmills that were and still are used all around the world. Windmills enabled our ancestors to transform the power of wind into a physical force that could be used for the basic jobs of grinding grains and moving water to many more complex industrial and agricultural needs. Modern windmills, as we know them today, first appeared in England in the 12th century. Some are still preserved today, like the 19th century six-sailed mill in the northeast Lincolnshire village of Waltham.
There's been a mill on this site since 1666. Of course, they sort of burnt down, fell down, blew down. This particular one we've got behind us was the last of the ones to be built, and it was built in 1881, so it's its 140th birthday this year.
We are relatively unique. We're one of the only six-sail working mills within the country. With it being one of the last of the line commercially built mills, if you like, that's the pinnacle of milling technology. So when you go in there, if you like, that's the most up-to-date sort of windmill that you're going to get. Our flour is stone ground with what they call a French burr stone, and it's the best milling stone in the world. And we have a set here that work brilliantly once the maintenance project is complete.
The bricks they used to build this mill were from a local brickworks in Waltham, and they weren't particularly good bricks, so hence 50, 60 years on the bricks are all beginning to crumble, and that's why we've ended up having to tar the front of the mill to protect the brickwork. And the danger of that is once you tar it, now you've got a maintenance problem. Every 5 years you've got to re-tar it. It fell into a pretty bad state of repair. Obviously these things cost a lot of money. Our previous chairman, Dr. Pip Carter, took the job on in again the late 50s, early 60s, and he's done an absolutely fantastic job. And in the year 2000 we had a big lottery grant, and we got a whole new cap and sails and repairs done. And that was all the hard work that was done by the volunteers led by Dr. Carter.
Our plans now is obviously to get the mill into a fully operational state again so we can mill and sell flour. And we want to welcome a lot of people, new members to the site and get them to have a look around the mill. It's amazing on how many people are local that have never been. So we'd just like them to come up and have a look and enjoy the facility.
We've been here many, many times before. My parents have a chalet at Fitties, so it's almost like a second home for us, really.
Have you been in the windmill today? Yeah. And did you like it?
Yeah.
I think it's just the history of it all, how old it is and how beautiful it is.
I live in the village, so it means a lot to me, the mill. I'd been a miller 15 years.
8 years I've been doing it now. Yeah, 2 years apprenticeship, and then and now I'm teaching these new lads how to carry on. So I can see the mill from my house, so I didn't want to see the sails stop turning.
You know, when you walk in there, I've been used to working in the oil industry, and some of the engineering that I've seen over my working life, there's nothing new. You know, it was all in there, all the things that goes on in the mill, you can see in modern engineering. You know, nothing's new. But it's just important to keep things like this for all the youngsters and future generations. So.
We're trustees of the Waltham Windmill, so we're here today to have a look at some of the work that's been carried out over the past couple of months. We're very lucky to have it in our village, so I think it's incredibly important to keep it maintained.
Oh, I think it's very important because it's part of our heritage, isn't it?
We haven't got many local historical places, have we, really? Yeah, you've got to look after them.
Our job now, all of us, is to keep it there.
Our plans now is obviously to get the mill into a fully operational state again so we can mill and sell flour. and we want to welcome a lot of people, new members to the site.
The Waltham Windmill Preservation Society is dedicated to maintaining the workings of the mill and occasionally grinds best quality grain to produce the finest flour.
We're looking at people to join the Preservation Society. It's free membership to the mill all year round.
Please, if you can, join. It's very easy, it's on the website.
All I want to do is get the mill up and running again, and having the people go in whilst it's shaking and rattling and moving. I'm really looking forward to it.
As the power of wind once again plays a critical role in the future of humankind, North East Lincolnshire is at the forefront of the battle against climate change as a centre for the wind turbine industry. Well, that's almost all for tonight's programme. If you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to join our group, or on YouTube, click the subscribe button below to make sure you don't miss any of our programmes. If you have a heritage story you would like to share, contact our news desk, heritage@clee.tv. We hope you enjoyed tonight's programme and look forward to seeing you next month for more people, places and heritage news.
This crazy world, this crazy world, this crazy world. And in this crazy world, we will carry on. You're my go-to guy, you're my number one. How can I be sure we will be as one? Oh, will you come to me with the rising sun? It's survival, crazy world, this crazy world. In this crazy world, this crazy world, this crazy world. Oh, in this crazy world, we will carry on. You're my go-to guy, you're my number one. No, you're far away from my rising sun. There will come a day when we can be as one. It's survival. This crazy world, this crazy world, this crazy world. In this crazy world, this crazy world, this crazy world.